too. I was like, I wish somebody had put me in here because I couldn't do it.
And that's why I'm like, he ain't here.
Anna Marie, sorry about that. Can you hear us now? You there? Look. Oh.
Marcel, you gonna be doing your pinnacle segment after the LNS development commercial.
After what?
He's gonna be doing the pinnacle after his pinnacle commercial. He has to.
Oh, like right now,
right after his commercial play. Yeah.
You hear that? You got punching with this pinnacle right now. After this commercial, the pinnacle.
Okay. Then take us to song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's already said laid out.
I see it. Goes over we go.
Times and everything. Oh, I'm sorry. I got my coat all right there. Oh,
Cherie. I was moving this morning. It's been a long, long morning. Oh, I sent a picture of us. This is a throwback Christmas picture.
No, okay, I'm playing.
I make him respond.
Pinnacle Construction and Remodeling has got you covered. Specializing
Get ready, Marcel.
Expert flood restoration.
Start printing their phone number on this thing for me.
Okay.
On what?
Oh, here. Just put it next to it.
Dedicated team is committed to
quality,
serving our Chicago community with the respect and
remember?
I'm waiting on them to say
it. Stands out. Call them at 708-623-4814. That's 708-623-4814. Elevate your home with Pinnacle Construction and Remodeling, your partners in building perfection.
If you're looking for some home remodeling during this season, listen, I know we're all gearing up to have family and friends over. If you're like me and hosting Friendsmas this year, you know what? You got to get your house in order. I got a hole in my ceiling. Not a hole, but I had some work done a couple of years ago by someone who never came to finish the work. And it's just been an eyesore. But thank God for people that come and finish the work like Deacon Robinson over at Pinnacle Construction who can get the job done. Call them at 708-623-4814. That's 708-623-4814. That's Deacon Robinson at Pinnacle Construction. Let them know that Action Jackson told you to call and get that trusted work done on your house before your friends and family come over and talk about you behind your back. You rocking with the Brunch Buzz right here on Inspiration 1390. You know what? We're not going to be like the friends and family talking about anybody. We're going to be giving love in this Christmas season. It's the Jackson 5. Give love right here on the Brunch Buzz.
You got her email?
I saw the top of it. Did it say she's not on the schedule?
It's a lie.
Oh, yeah. Adam, did you get that email?
Yeah. From who?
Tammy's not here. So
No.
are you still doing it in the raw? Or are you just
That's up to him.
this one's nice.
Oh. I did not get it.
Oh, I see it. Not too bad. But Adam,
I did not get an email.
oh, she probably didn't include you this time. By accident. We need you to make sure the guests are booked on their days for December, remember?
Okay, yeah. And also I need to train him on doing this. So
Right. So I'm supposed to give you a pass. Okay. Let her know all is well. Her days are locked and loaded. You know how I do. I'll move a day. I sent you an email. You zip files expire?
No.
Well,
Never.
you sent me a zip
Zip
file.
files never expired.
Mine said need you to check.
Because I looked at my own email. That's how I knew.
Did you check what I sent you? It said outbox. I found the Breakfast with Santa pictures from
2022.
Yeah, but it wouldn't let me open it. Say expire. No, it's in. Dang, why didn't it go through? Because the zip file expired. Yeah, I'm trying to
If you
oh sure. Oh, you know why? Because I changed mailboxes. What the world? What's up, Anna Marie Cherie? Cherie, yeah, I found some good pictures of us on Christmas Day. Adam was with us.
Oh,
And
okay,
Breakfast with
okay.
Santa, but I can't open those files. And I just launched our link for Breakfast with Santa. So
Oh, here, this one.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, what? Why is it saying it doesn't exist? Um,
December 23rd. So, Arizona inmate accused of stabbing Derek Chauvin 22 times, charged with attempted murder. The federal inmate accused of stabbing Derek Chauvin has been charged with attempted murder. It has been revealed. The incident is said to have taken place in the library at the Federal Correctional Institution in Tucson, Arizona, where Chauvin is currently serving his 21-year sentence. Per the criminal complaint filed on Friday, the United States State's Attorney's Office has shed light on the severity of the former Minnesota police officer's injuries as more charges have piled up against Terskek. Chauvin, who was convicted in 2020 for the murder of George Floyd last year, had been stabbed 22 times with an, and I quote, improvised knife before being rushed to the hospital. According to prosecutors, Terskek allegedly confessed to the crime and is said to have told law enforcement officials that he would have killed Chauvin had nobody intervened. The complaint further reveals that he's also been hit with an additional charge for assault with a dangerous weapon. Assaulting results in serious bodily injury, and assault with the intent to commit murder were among the extra charges. If he's found guilty, Terskak could be looking at 20 years behind bars for the alleged attempted murder of Chauvin. Being convicted of causing serious bodily injury would result in another maximum sentence of 10 years, the complaint adds. Now, we're praying for the speedy recovery of Derek Chauvin. Contrary to Adam's belief over here, he is smirking. But we are children of God, and we are called to pray even for our enemies, right? And so, although he sent this country in an uproar by killing George Floyd. George Floyd's daughter said that her father has changed the scope of history, basically. And so sometimes, and we know when we read our Bible, sometimes people die so that we may live. I can't get nobody to help me up in here. So, I'm not going to say that it's unfortunate, but as I was reading this story, and I'm no conspiracy theorist, right? But I had a thought, and you all pay attention and keep up with this. The guy's name does not sound like a black man. I don't know what his ethnicity is. So when you assume Derek Chauvin, who killed George Floyd, got stabbed, you assume somebody maybe black did it because they were mad at him because of George Floyd. But when I was reading the name, it made me to think, what if this was a ploy to help Derek Chauvin get out of jail? Because now his attorneys will then come and fight that he's unsafe or he needs to be moved to a minimum security facility, or let's try to get him out one way or another because of it. Now, that's just my conspiracy. We shall see. We will keep our opinion on the post of what's going on in this case. And if it happens, don't y'all start calling me for prophecies. I'm not prophetic. I just had a thought about that because, you know, unfortunately, this is America. And I've seen lawyers and people that don't look like us get out of jail and get off scot-free for things that the less fortunate, let's say that, would suffer severe consequences. And speaking of severe consequences, I'm going to switch lanes. Where's Adam with the lane switch noise? Okay, he's looking up the guy who stabbed him. He is a white man.
Big white man.
A big white man, Adam
Santa
said.
Claus.
Well, he does look like Santa Claus. Sorry, Santa in jail. You didn't deliver a gift. We didn't want you to do that. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. But I do want to say to be very careful, and I want you to urge your young people in the day and age that we live. On Sunday, I was in church, and my god nephew, and I got to say god nephew, my best friend got a call that her son was picked up by the police. Now, this young man is innocent, good. We all say that about our kids, right? But I know for a fact that this is a good young man. And his mother, I was standing with her when the police called, and she said that, he was like, Mom, the police picked me up, and they said I committed a robbery. And the police got on the phone, and she said, my baby doesn't have, and he's only about 14 or 15. My baby doesn't have an ID on him because I have his ID. Please do not question him. Where are you taking him? And all of these things that you don't ever want to have to talk about. So my godnephew was just happened to be walking down the street, and the police stopped him. He was on his way to a friend's house, picked him up, took him to jail for armed robbery, said that he fit the description, and also said, there's always the excuse, and also said that they chose him out and said it was him. So my godnephew was facing some very serious charges.
The quote-unquote victims pointed him
The
out?
The quote-unquote victims pointed him out because he looked like somebody, which when you think the people that patrol our communities think we all look alike anyway, one. Two, these young guys are all, we kind of dress the same. That's, fashion, right? You got your braids, you got his braid. But he was on a Sunday afternoon just walking to visit a friend and almost had to spend the night in jail, be charged with some crimes. And I say that to say we got to educate our young people to be careful. It's sad that we got to give them this PTSD and trauma to don't hang here, don't walk down this street, go in the house before the sun is up, down, But we got to be very careful because if it had not been, and I was going to say this story for Wednesday, now it's clicking on me, but I'll bring it back up. If it had not been for a neighbor's ring camera to show that he came out the house at the same time that the robbery was happening, he would be facing some serious charges, and it would have been all because of some he say, she say, he look like this. So, be careful. Then I got a call from the police yesterday that one of our buildings, they caught a robber in our backyard. And the officer said, "Can I see your ring camera footage?" And I said, "I would love to show you my ring camera footage, but unfortunately, it is out right now." So it made me think that's another life lesson. We got to get with Stacey Chauncey and make sure that we're getting these security systems, because I felt so bad because I was like, what if my footage could have helped them solve another crime? But they did apprehend the suspect, but they told me that there have been a lot of robberies and car thefts in the community, and it's an uptick. And so I had to call all of the seniors and older people that are known the block to let them know, be very careful and be vigilant when you're getting out of your car at night. The sun is getting darker early, unfortunately. So you got to make sure you're getting in the house before it gets too dark. If you're going to come in late, have somebody looking out the door for you. Call somebody to let them know you're on your way home, and stay off the phone if you can. Now, I heard somebody tell somebody yesterday, call me when you get home. No, I don't want you on the phone because I don't want you distracted. But have that phone in your hand. Get in the house, call me. But be watching around, because the people could be standing on the side waiting on you, and you're not paying attention because you're on the phone and you're trying to move stuff. So you know what? Just be very careful, be vigilant in this season. The enemy is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. But I'm pleading the blood over all of you. But faith without works is dead. So we're going to work our faith. All right, believers? Listen, we got a great show coming up. I got a big announcement for a great event coming to change the trajectory of the Christmas season. So you don't want to miss this announcement. We'll be back right here on the Brunch Bunch on Inspiration 1390. You're right, Anna Maria. They want to keep him safe. They can put him in solitary confinement like they do other folks.
Mm-hmm. Sure could. I read that he stabbed him because he was high profile. Mm-hmm. And then he just wanted to.
That guy was smiling in his mugshot.
That's usually how it goes. High profile prisoners. Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say, Zoe? I'm sorry.
I said that I read that the guy who stabbed him just wanted to be known. Yeah, because Chauvin is high profile.
Oh.
But a lot of the comments that I read was like, what goes around comes around.
Absolutely.
Well, you got a lot of people wanting that dude free. They're like, free him for that. I don't wish harm on people. But, sometimes
You are right. But that's what, the Bible says, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. So, well, that's another one, Cherie. I guess that you could be on the phone if you got like your earbuds, but holding it or put it on speaker. Maybe I'll put that out there too. Because some people, like Otis, will have the phone like this and be looking at it and not paying attention. A lot of people like to be on video calls now, which I wish people would quit video calling me. But I ain't a big fan of it. It's not every call. But
before my girlfriend and I lived together, I would always have her FaceTime
as she walks. Well, then you could see it. You could see it. But yeah, just be careful because these fools. And it was sad because my nephew. Look, my nephew. I don't want to just say nephew because people would have thought it was my nephew. That was armed robbery is a serious charge.
Very serious charge.
A very, very serious charge. And this young man, freshman high school, straight A student, it's unfortunate you can't live in certain communities now because now you can't walk down the street.
That's my fear when my baby going to college. Like, he's not that kid. He is a sheltered kid. Yeah. And then you put him outside.
Yeah, it's
all we
rough.
can do is pray now. There we go.
Well, and to lie back on.
Bettina said Derek Chauvin was a former officer. He shouldn't be in Gen Pop. Did I GP, right? Yeah. I do it. He need to be secure. I watch enough Law and Order. So yeah, when you're in the alley or garage, yeah. You had to tell Melinda's mama be very careful because it was at the building she lived in. And they say they caught the guy in our yard and he tossed the gun. So they wanted the camera to catch the guns. They was like, we'll get he tossed it so it wasn't bound. But they said fingerprints. I said, thank you. They said, you okay? Calm down. I'm like, no, I'm mad because my camera should be working to help solve this crime.
Right. Get some technology together.
Man, I tell you.
Are we going straight to community chat?
No, what's going on? Oh, actually.
Is here.
Okay, well, hurry up.
Stacey back.
I know. I'm about to though, because between y'all and me, I ain't gonna tell them like this, but I got a couple of tenants don't be paying and acting like they ain't home. I'm gonna start checking the cameras. I'm gonna start talking to them on their way in, like I thought you went home. Right at.
Well, if you kick him out, I can be your new
trust me, I'm working on it. So, trust me, I am working.
There needs to be a search button for these banners.
I'm bringing the guests in.
Yes, they need. I've realized that I do not. Only real estate I'll be doing moving forward is if I have property managers in place. Real estate is not for the faint of heart and not for the nice people. Tina said he had that smirk on his face when he was on George's neck. I wonder, did his attacker smile? I'm surprised it took this long. True. But you know what, Tina? It took that long because black people are the most forgiving people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, it's true. Look at George Zimmerman. He's still walking.
Hello. Welcome.
I'm still waiting for somebody to jump in.
Oh, yeah, Zimmerman, definitely.
He's still walking around like nothing happened.
I don't know if that's the guy then.
Yeah.
Wait, he Mexican?
No, I don't know.
He gotta be Mexican to be a Mexican mafia gang leader.
Who was a Mexican mafia?
He's still white though.
He's white though. I don't think he's Mexican.
He bad something up. Look.
There's white Mexicans.
That is not George Zimmerman.
No,
we're talking about
that.
Oh.
You ready for me, though?
10 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah, he's still white. He can be Mexican and still be white.
Make sure y'all record this.
All right.
Look.
Great.
Thank you.
A little shit.
I'll tell you what's going on.
So what's going on is 10 years ago, I hosted my first ever breakfast with Santa at my church's community center, United for Better Living in West Garfield Park. 10 years ago, God gave me the vision to do breakfast with Santa because my great-grandmother, God rest her soul, Mildred Evans, every year when we were kids, growing up on the West Side, would take us to O'Hare Airport to have breakfast with Santa. And as I grew up and became an adult and started working in the community and running my business, I said, I want to bring West Side youth that same opportunity and feeling that I felt every year that we would go see Santa, hop off that airplane and come and eat breakfast with us. It was a magical moment. And so I went to my pastor, shout out to Bishop David Todd Whitley. I said, Pastor, I want to do breakfast with Santa. And he said, Brother Marcel, do it. Let's make it happen. And so 10 years later, we have been doing breakfast with Santa every year, minus maybe 1 or 2 because of course, pandemics. But we are bringing breakfast with Santa back to West Garfield Park. Woo, 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 woo. And it is going to be bigger and better than ever. Of course, since then, our church not only now has the community center, we're building 43 units of affordable apartments, and we own the old Marconi Elementary School, which is now the care center. So we're doing breakfast with Santa at the care center. So we're doing it bigger than we've done it before. It is going down Saturday, December the 23rd at the care center, 230 North Colmar Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The community can come out and enjoy breakfast, free pictures with Santa, gifts, activities, sounds by Swagger DJ AJ. Now, if you've ever been to Breakfast with Santa, you know it's a great event if I do say so myself. Now, the last 2 years, shout out, we partnered with BBF, Building Brighter Futures, the former Better Boys Foundation on the West Side. Because of the COVID pandemic, we had to switch it up a little bit, and BBF was very conducive to that. But this year, we're bringing it back where families can sit together, do activities together. We got the whole first floor of the Marconi Elementary School. And so our goal, last year we did about 400 families. Our goal is to have 500 families be blessed this Christmas season. So if you or someone you know is interested in being a part of Breakfast with Santa, all you have, registration is now open. You go to www.whoisjac.com. That's whoisjac.com. Register. It costs nothing for you to register. Shout out to 6978 Soul Food for providing us breakfast every year. It's going to be a huge, huge event. And guess what? Santa called me from the North Pole. He is ready to have a good time with you all on the 23rd. So make sure you go online and register for Breakfast with Santa. That's going down Saturday, December the 23rd at the Care Center on the Great West Side of Chicago. Shout out to Chatham Business Association, Melinda Kelly and ComEd, who are our 2 premier sponsors of this event. And every year, I think now they get more excited than I do because they call and remind me it's time for Breakfast with Santa. So make sure you go and register at whoisjac.com. And speaking of the Christmas season, we've been talking all for about a couple of weeks now since Thanksgiving about dealing with grief. And shout out to Pastor Reginald Wayne Sharp Jr., the pastor of Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church, who has been doing a series called The Grief Case and how to deal with grief. And you know what? He's dealt with a lot of grief this year, and unfortunately, last night his father passed away. And so we're praying for Pastor Sharp and the entire Sharp family, and we're praying for the Fellowship family who is with him. But we got a guest today that's going to be talking to us, of course, with Wynona on Community Chatter about dealing with grief and all of these things that we're dealing with this holiday season. Don't go nowhere. Community Chatter's up next, right here on the Brunch Month.
Hey there.
Hey, you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. Grief, Lord.
It's not just grief.
Right, I
didn't get a chance to talk because I really needed to shape and frame this show better. It's not shaped the way I needed it to shape. But I'm going to talk about...
This is who you've been talking about, though. The deaf doula?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes. You've been on before.
Yeah, she's been on.
Yep.
She's been on.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Radio
welcome
started. Back. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
So, yeah, you tell me where you want to go with it. I just saw Deaf Doula. I knew we would be talking.
I've created the Dear Me Care Circle.
Right.
And it's a ministry for caregivers this holiday season as we look at all of that. There is going to be an event we're going to do March 24th.
Which mic are you going to use? 2 or 3?
That one right in front.
You're going to use 2? Okay.
2.
No. She gave you the number. They don't know which number Mike it is.
I have no idea.
One. So that's Mike 2. That's 3.
Okay.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dear Me Care Circle. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
frame
gonna
it.
follow your lead.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember because we talked. This was an interesting conversation. The deaf doula and that you helping.
But also having your own situation in order, because that whole thing on should we be getting our insurance for our care, so that what should we be doing in addition to just the whole gloomy other piece, having your business in order.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand. It starts at 18. At 18, you are an adult, and you need to have your documentation in order.
That's good.
Because when the doctors come, they want to know. And if you say I'm 18, at some point they'll start talking to the next of kin right away.
If you got it down.
Yeah.
And we got to get on the schedule because I never came back to having the Win song come in. The Wynona, not Wynona. It's just, but before we go.
They say Wynona.
They say Wynona.
Last week I said, I wanted to know. I said it in but we were talking.
I've never had a spot announcing the spots. I mean, there's just a whole.
Do you want to do your own intro in your voice?
Okay,
or you want it in?
We need to talk about everything before we go to December.
Okay.
So that's your picture. You know, okay. I'm there. Make sure. I'm sorry.
Do I need to pull it up differently?
No, I got you.
Sponsored by Win-Win Communications.
Well, of course, today is my favorite day of the week because it is Win-Win Tuesday Community Chatter. Listen, every weck Wynona brings a new best friend, and this week she brought back an old best friend that we've met before. And I'm gonna let Wynona take it away. Wynona, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be back. I can't believe that it's December 5th and that the year of 2023 is just running away. And, it is the holiday season. And as you finish the year, you want to make sure that, before we start getting to New Year resolutions, when you really pause, maybe it's because the age I'm at and as we grow older, but, you always see this flood of people that are passing away, and making it to 2024 is not promised. And definitely condolences to Dr. Sharp. This has been just a season for me personally, to have lost my mom, and to look at her legacy. One of the things that I learned is that caregiving is so important. And
yes.
When my twin died in 2007, I said, you can't just go through grief. You got to do something with it. And going through all the resources, all the help, and the people that came in for me with my mom, it inspired me to create the Dear Me Care Circle nonprofit. Is a new ministry for caregivers, because caregivers have to give care. Yep. And if you don't put your own oxygen mask on, so now coming through a wealth of resources and folks, but there's going to be a big focus on making sure caregivers are taking care of themselves, getting their doctor's appointments and screenings, as I'm now taking care of my dad, who is a retired Marine. But Dartula was one of the people that was remarkable. So Dartula Young, I know that they have birth doulas, but I never had children. So I didn't, the ones that I can claim on my taxes, I never had those. But love being TT to my nieces and nephews and godchildren. But Dartula came in, and Cynthia Val Chapman is one of the resources and people I've worked with. And she did Life Celebrant. And so she did this whole piece on how you celebrate and prepare for funerals after her mother passed. But she mentioned to me, there's a death doula. And then right as she mentioned another woman, Donald Dew introduced me, HSI Habilitative Systems, who was here last week.
Yeah.
He introduced me to Dartula Young, and she was phenomenal because she helped prepare me on how to deal with hospice and everything else. But Dartula just, congratulations, just launched her website.
Ooh.
But she already had been doing Rooted in Dignity. And so as we look at where we're at right now, I can't tell you how unprepared we were and how we still are going through. So as you close out the year, it's about having your house in order. And so welcome, Dartula, and let us know what you're doing because, we need to take care of our own business. When you were saying the age starts at 18, how many of us have done our directives? Cheryl Grace has done a book called Divas Die Too, saying don't let your plans be up to your children or anybody else.
Yeah.
Set your, do your whole plan. When my Aunt Ira died,
they'll have you up the creek somewhere.
my mother had everything paid for. She had her, she had the grave and everything else, including the open and closing fees. And my Aunt Ira had money in her pocket for her flowers and the coat, but Dartula, welcome. And this season, I know that you have a holistic group of folks, including grief therapists, but tell us about Rooted in Dignity. And you've been up to working with lots of groups, but tell us about Rooted in Dignity. But first tell us about you, because you have had an interesting path to get to you.
Well, I was not into this space, but I was always there, and people would call and say, "This is what's happening to my mother, to my loved one. What do I do?" You sit at bedside, and as my mother got to the point where her health, mentally and physically, she started declining, I decided that I wanted to become a death doula so that I would have the type of skills and the tools that I needed to do this. So my thought was to become a doula, to work with family and friends. I did that. I was certified by the Conscious Dying Institute. And at some point, I decided that this is much bigger than me. That we in our community, in the Black community, in the brown community, we don't have the kind of information, and we do not prepare for end of life, probably on any level. And we don't want to talk about it.
Nope.
We try and talk to our parents and someone that we love about it, and they said, "I don't want to talk about it." So,
but before you go there, let's just pause to acknowledge that you are starting this from real experience, and
Right.
Condolences on the loss of your mother, because your mom passed
it was 2 years ago, December 1st.
So this is
this season.
The season.
Right.
So you're not talking about stuff that you thought of. You had personal experience. So continue.
Yeah. And then when we all take care, at some point, we all are caregivers, and you really don't know what to do. So after my experience with her and family and friends, I decided that I wanted to get this information out to the community at large. From there, I started doing the seminars. And after I did 1 or 2 seminars, I said, this is even bigger than me. I can't do all of this. So I decided to start Rooted in Dignity, and I brought additional team members on. One is a CPA who can talk about the financial planning, a social worker, a professional project manager. So there are people who have the skills. And what we do on a continuous basis, we are conducting seminars on end of life planning and care. Not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, I did a seminar at Habilitative Systems for guardians of the developmentally disabled adults.
That's huge.
Just to start talking about when you leave this planet, what's going to happen to your dependents, and to understand what the process is, because that has to be done legally. The judge has to appoint a guardian. So we talked about all of that. In addition, what are you going to leave your other children? Your other children have to take responsibility for planning your end of life service, as well as determine how their sibling is going to be taken care of. So we have
That's interesting. That's important.
Yes. And we've heard Deborah Vines with the Answer Inc. She's got that wonderful Jason who made 30, but she's helped so many families, and that is serious. That's a tremendous burden for parents to carry when they have someone like that.
You know,
Yeah.
we've done a number of town halls with Congressman Danny K. Davis.
He's a big leader in this.
As soon as I went to talk to him, and he said, you know, you're absolutely right. And this is a part of health.
Mhm.
We need to look at our health and determine how we're going to move to the next level and how we're going to help our parents and our loved ones.
Yeah.
That's interesting, and it's something because shout out to Deborah Vines, the Answer Inc. Autism Development Disorder Agency. To hear her talk about what's gonna happen with Jason after her, and it's like a serious conversation, always makes me go like, well, we believe, how we do in our community. We all have to talk about that right now. God not taking you nowhere no time soon, but nobody knows, and that's why this is so important what you're doing.
And you said the age starts at when?
18.
Now,
At 18,
explain
you
that.
are considered to be an adult. And once you become an adult, if you go to the hospital, get into an accident, if something happens, when you go, they will ask, does this person have a healthcare power of attorney? And for your finances, do you have a durable power of attorney? The healthcare power of attorney is someone who will determine, based on your conversation with them, how you want to be taken care of if you become incapacitated. Once you become incapacitated and can no longer make decisions for yourself, then the healthcare power of attorney steps in and makes those decisions. It does not have to be a family member, but it should be someone that you trust, that you have your faith in, that will carry out your wishes. Because the healthcare power of attorney is the person that is going to make the life or death decisions at that point.
Is it normally the parents if they have not selected that? Is it normally the parent?
The next of kin.
Okay.
And it would, if they had a spouse, then it would be the spouse, and then it would go down to the parents, and they continuously go down until they find someone who is the next of kin.
But we look at so much of our houses not being in order. And you always see these things coming out from the recorder of deeds and all these other places that say, if your loved ones die and their paperwork is not in order, then you have a whole nother series to do. So what should people be doing? Because I appreciate the fact that, you came to my mother's bedside in the last days and you gave us lots of counsel and advice, but there's a holistic piece. You talked about the social work piece. You talked about the finance piece, but you also just talked about, how to deal with hospice and to set some expectations and boundaries around that. It's like a whole field. So you brought in a whole team. So
yeah, what we do is we have a very comprehensive model. We start with the planning and go all the way to the grief and grieving. When you talk about hospice, we as African Americans do not trust the medical profession. And there's reasons, and it goes back to slavery even to today. So we are very hesitant to engage hospice, because I talk to a lot of people and you'll see they say, well, hospice killed my mother. Understanding hospice is comfort care. But what you have to do is you have to interview hospice as they interview you. I encourage people to sit down, write out a list. What are they going to provide you and your loved one? And if they don't fit the model that you want, move on.
That's good, because you know what? We think hospice, we go with whatever they refer us to. The first person they send our way, we just take them thinking this is our only option. This is all we got. But you're saying interview these agencies.
And identify them. A social worker at the hospital too becomes one of your best friends. A social worker will work with you. She will give you a list of hospice. She doesn't, say one. She'll give you a list and she'll tell you to reach out to these different hospice and talk to them. So the social worker is important. What's happening that in this new market, a lot of hospices are now employing death doulas. That's because a death doula, when a death doula comes in, male or female, we have the time and the experience to really work with the family to explain exactly what's going on as they go through the stages of end of life. Hospice nurse will come in maybe 3 times a week, 30 minutes. 80% of the care, end of life care, is the responsibility of the family. That's what a lot of people don't understand. They think hospice will come in, hospice will take care of my loved one. We have to provide 80%. And as you know, Wynona, that is a awesome responsibility. We are so overwhelmed. What we also do is talk to the family about the resources. How do you reach out to your family and friends to provide the type of support that you need, even if it's going to the store, whatever you need? When you think about it, when somebody is in hospice, they require 24-hour care. And if they're at home, someone has to provide that care.
Now, I got a question for you. Look, this is very interesting. Facebook, the comments are going up too. Bettina said, shout out to Advocate Hospice Team. She got a lot of great care for them. So when we think hospice, we think, okay, this is it. So you, so I guess my question is, have you seen anyone come off a hospice?
Yes, you can go hospice. They usually recommend hospice if you have 6 months or less to live. But you can go in and out of hospice. At some point, you might decide my loved one is getting better, and the doctors can say, so you can go in and out. You can come out of hospice, and if you have to, you can go back in.
I have a friend that took care of her aunt on the West Coast, and she said, oh, she was in and out of hospice for 2 years. When you decide you want to do something or take her into, she said, but her aunt was in and out of hospice for 2 years. So she told me, don't freak out. Don't get, just, if you decide you're not ready to just have to go back to the hospital for everything, you get a lot of services that come in, like the oxygen and some of the tests and things that they can do when there's a stop to some medication and everything. But I've seen some people live on hospice a long time. And then folks that made peace, my mom was on home hospice for 3 days. But again, it was such a journey that I want to make sure we share information and share resources. When you go to dearmecarecircle.org, I'm getting ready to do a support group for the male spouses, senior male spouses, because I've just seen what my dad has gone through. I've seen what my friend Al Cato, and then when I look at caregivers to have every now and then, what is it? They say that you get a respite break. What is it that you get?
Respite break. You can have your loved one go to a nursing home or some facility, because that's important, because a lot of times healthcare caregivers will decline faster than the person you're taking care of. So at some point, they can go in respite care.
And I have a friend in Tennessee who said one of her very good professional friends was taking care of her mother so hard, she actually had a heart attack before her mom.
Right.
And so again, somebody else had to pick up that. So taking care of caregivers need care too. But just in terms of having your house in order, and you hear all of these things saying, if your loved one dies and your name's not on, but what are like some of the basic ABCs?
Okay, bank account. To keep you out of probate, if you don't have anybody on your bank account, there's 3 ways. Just take your loved one to the bank. You can be on as a co-founder, or you can have all the rights. You can be payable on death, or you can be a beneficiary. That way, when the person dies, what you do is take the death certificate. The bank will close the account out and give you the money. Transfer of deed. A lot of folks are not on the property. They have one person on the property. If a person dies and there's no one else on the property, it has to go to probate. Probate can take a year or more. Generally, it's a year when you're in probate. And the judge is the person that decides how the assets are going to be distributed. There is a document called transferable upon death, which is a very easy document to be filled out. It requires 2 witnesses and to be notarized. And all you have to do is take this document down to the Recorder of Deeds office. You file it, and when your loved one dies, you take the death certificate, and they will automatically put you on the deed. That keeps your property out of probate. Healthcare power of attorney, we talked about the durable power of attorney. When a person becomes incapacitated and can no longer make financial decisions, the durable power of attorney will give someone the authority to make all of the financial decisions for you. So that's another one that you have. We have a host of documents that we talk to people to make sure that everything is filled out and your paperwork is in order. Another one, if you have a healthcare power of attorney, but do not resuscitate. If you decide, if I code, I don't want to be resuscitated, then you have to have that document handy. If your loved one gets in an ambulance, the first thing they ask you is, does he have a do not resuscitate? If you don't have, and you need physically, you need to be able to hand it to the ambulance, the EMT. If you don't have it and your loved one codes in the ambulance, they will do CPR and they will do everything they can to bring them back.
That's so important.
And you get asked that all the time. They
so
kept asking us, and folks said you have to be careful on making that decision, because what will the quality of life be? And I had a friend that had to go in where they had her mother on life support, and she said that we had a DNR. So there's just so many, stories. So to have a community that's prepared, that's supporting, that's educated, all of that is important.
The viewers, the Facebook audience is loving this conversation. They say great information, Wynona and Dartula. I want to make sure I say that right. I do want to say, Bettina, shout out to you, Wynona, for being a visionary to say, you know what, I want to help take care of caregivers, because until you're in that position of being a caregiver, you don't understand how hard it is. But I've been there and seen people get upset with you, don't want to help you, think you're not doing as much as you're doing when they're not there when the person is falling or need help getting up or need to eat and need medicine and hospital visits. It can be draining. And Bettina said, I'm currently a caregiver. It can be challenging. You would think people will help, but I'm doing this solo dolo. So we're praying and sending strength to all of the caregivers listening right now.
One of the networks had something that said, you don't plan on becoming a caregiver. It's something that comes up suddenly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, it did come up suddenly. And that's why when you have a community that understands, and when you talked about going to the store, one of my girlfriends kept saying, I'm on my way from work. Let me know. Can I just pick you up and take you to the store? What do you need? Can I bring something to you? And my mother was blessed. We had so many family and friends and folks that came to see her. The dentist came. I had folks coming in like Dr. Hapi and Sadia that were helping with the breathing and so I'm like, by any means necessary. Maurice Dorr, shout out to him. Who's been a lifetime, he's got First to Train and whatever else he calls Fit Force. He's in Forest Park now. He was in Oak Park for years. They came and they, brought service and they attempted to stimulate her. So to have that community of services. So your site that people need to know about is rootedindignity.com.
So they want to connect with you.
Yes, they can ask questions. They can connect with me. One of the other things I want to say real briefly is grief. We talked about grief. This is a very, very difficult time.
Oh, it's been horrible
because, families come together and then you see that your mother, your father, somebody is missing. It is very difficult to get through the holiday season. Some of the things that you can do is set new traditions and customs. Acknowledge the person that's no longer there. If you have to sit around and talk about what my mother did last year and what she's always done, make some of her recipes, but be supportive of each other.
Thank you for that information, because a lot of people are dealing with it. And we're praying for those that are dealing with grief and those that are in the position of caretaking. You never expected to be here. But you know what? I said it when we started the show. Happiness is external and it's caused by something that happens. But you got to tap into your joy because it's internal. It's on the inside. And this joy that we have, the world didn't give it to us and the world can't take it away. Wynona, thank you each and every week for bringing such great information. Dartula, thank you for joining us. Go to rootedindignity.com to connect with Dartula. Listen, we'll be back next week with more community chatter right here on the Brunch Bunch. We encourage you to keep Love 24 alive. Tell someone that you don't know that you love them. Tell someone that you do know that you love them. Love will begin to spread like a wildfire. We love you, believers. Up next, AC Green. After that, Pastor DeAndre Patterson with the Afternoon Drive. Okay, that was good. That was some good. That was great. I think now more than ever, people need help with dealing with grief and being a caretaker.
I've got the demicarecircle.org, so I'm gonna have to talk about that address and that.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of organizations that are reaching out to me now that work.
What is respite
And
care?
people have been respite is when you get a break.
Yeah.
They like my cousin takes care of her mother, and they will actually send someone to the house for her to be away.
Okay, that's